up and around this terrain. It's really not going to be easy. And and here's Maluk.
Here's the problem. He wanted to get away from Endemic.
Wait, what? How did you die?
Oh my god.
So now he runs himself over with the car? Whoa! No! Of all the ways to eliminate your squad.
Well, in the early game, really reduced United's own rotation. But speaking of rotations here.
Oh my god, really?
It's actually going to be Baja that hits a nade onto Hypoc. That's not intentional.
Oh, no. I need an inside, careful.
Oh my god, nade on you.
They're pushing. Sorry, Park.
Very good. One of them's knocked. One of them's knocked. Zampa's knocked.
Easy gets knocked through here. Look at this nice path.
Oh. Yeah, he's running on the hill.
I see him. I'm shooting.
What the fuck? Knock one. Yo, one card likes to do the split. We should crush that.
Yeah, I saw more than two.
I killed one already.
I hit him once. He's in the concrete. Proppy.
I'm crashing it.
Go with Proppy.
I'm okay, hold on. I'm
Wait,
late.
there's two there. Come back.
I told you there was two there. I told you that.
Okay. Just shoot back. This is a risky play.
Yeah. Yo, this is.
I can't come back.
Nerf. Listen, this is gonna shift out.
Let Proppy listen.
Let me play.
You're better blow.
I know. I might blow up here.
Get out.
Woo!
Can't cover you.
Actually, just blew up.
Nice to get circle favor, but at this point, you just got to try to survive. Oh, damn. Remember, he was the last member. We saw what...
You can drive right here, Blue.
I'm stuck.
Okay, yeah, Loebs is probably dead.
I can try and cover you. Hold on.
Wait, what?
They already know that Wildcard is still up and the only team left on the west side.
Wildcard might wrap west.
Okay. There's still people at yellow mark.
There's a guy inside that building.
Yeah, inside this compound, and there's still people across zone on yellow mark.
Yeah, you guys can push to this hill right here on blue now.
I think he's in that house. Yeah, he's in the house.
Do we just dive it, bro? We win if we dive it.
I don't know. Do we?
We only have the bus. We can two dive in the bus and 2 hold from Zampa's spot. Don't dive by yourself.
Wait, don't dive it. Don't dive it.
He's in the right house, I think. Outside the right house.
Yeah, we can smoke and just run out.
Okay, I'm down. Remember, there's still people in this compound. Don't go down.
I might go down. He's peeking the right house. He has a 3 helm, 3 gear.
I'm
Wildcard's wrapping.
Wait, Wildcard's already on the top of us. I'm in a smoke? Yeah, I'm in a smoke. Oh my god.
This all set? Yeah, no, I don't think so.
No, I don't think we do. Just peek up this region.
Oh, Shark, no.
Now Sharky knows where he's at. Your boy Dre went down inside of the exchange as well.
Wildcard went too slow, and
Sharky
now
trap.
Tempo Storm has the positioning.
Sharky trap.
He's above me. Right above me, Nate.
Okay.
I'm back up.
I don't think
Get on our side. Get on our side.
Get on our side of the ridge. Play our side of the ridge. Don't over challenge.
I can smoke for you.
Don't over challenge that Sharky. Don't give him the knock.
I'm trying. I have to peek. I want to. Nate came.
I'm looking in 2 seconds.
Wait, he's moving.
This last one goes center. Just do not throw.
I have to get. He's on me. I'm on my left.
Okay, can you back down? You don't back down. You can body peek down.
Right over the bridge.
Okay.
Close left.
Hold on. One bullet.
I see. Eyes on the tree, Zampa. Nice!
Good shit.
Good job, boys.
Good shit, guys.
Oh, dude, Shark, you should have just stayed in your hut, man. Like, you let them get right up on you. You almost got down crossing to the other one for whatever reason.
They smoked my hut though.
So what? Like, so what if they smoke it?
Match 3 of week 3. This is the NPL, and these are the highlights. Gammy, let's walk.
Ooh, a lot of early game fragging once again, and that's because this circle was a hard shift on to the east side. They got very, very populated on the west of that circle, and so teams had to fight, and continue to fight for it.
Fight and grind is the name of the game on the last mirror match of the day. After this, we're back to Erangel, and the players, I think, after that last one are going to welcome the return to the forest.
Oh, God, please, stop making me run halfway across the map. 10,000 kilometers away. Frolicker gets the spray, but does not get the knock. Actually, gets knocked himself. These guys fighting for that edge of the circle, and again, it's because of the hard shifts. Give teams no other option but to maybe carve out a little zone in the corner that they can then pivot their attention towards the center, but they gotta clear out their backside first.
That's the nature of Miramar. Sometimes you get bad shifts and you gotta chase a little bit, but that's when you rack up kills and make up for an uncomfortable situation. Nice underhanded toss there to clear some space.
And there goes Wildcard. They did start to be active this game compared to the last time, already with 10 kills. And then a nice nade In a couple of moments.
Lazarus, roll back the stone. They're not getting back up after this one. They get pushed, dropped, and they make it a good old-fashioned throwdown. I think it was 4v4 there at the end, wasn't it, Cameron? Here it is. Sorry, no second life for you.
He hears the nade too, but where are you gonna run after that? But yeah, this 4v2 at the end, just wildcard were in the position. They just needed to get the knocks, but Smoking Aces, they had the shots.
And the shots, they had the numbers, they had the position.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot to be done there. Big shout out to WC. Wildcard came in with 12 kills on that game. My name's Toffees. I'm joined by the Cammy D. We're back at the OGN Super Arena, the last mirror match in the books, headed to Erangel next. Big change of pace for some of these teams, but time is running out, all right? This is our last game for today. We don't have a lot of games ahead. There's no more chances to say, hey, I'm still adjusting to, you know, we heard legit, he was down there talking to Rachel, and he said, things have changed. It's a new style of play. People are adjusting. That time has passed.
It's been passed. I said this last week, that last week was the last week to have that excuse. And at this point, you need to start to scramble and figure out what you can get. Sure.
Yeah.
If you're not going to be at the top, you're not going to be at the top.
Right. Excuses are gone. Excuses are like diapers. Only babies use them, and they generally stink. It's time to start playing the game that you know how to play. Get out there, get crazy, look for kills. That's what we're seeing out of some of these teams that have been playing relatively well or been towards the top. They're not getting first places here today, but they're consistently walking away with 5 kills.
Yeah, and you can see the teams that are actually trying for stuff and the ones who get on the back foot, they lose their confidence and they lose like their thinking. They're having to play catch up to the circle, essentially play catch up to the game, and that's not going to do you any good.
Now, I know that a lesson for getting kills that you like is that third parties can deliver a wealth of death and destruction. So, analyst segment, we picked out a little bit of a fight, again, from STK, who's had a pretty good day today.
Yeah.
For Cammy to talk a little more about the value of a third party.
So this was actually SSG pushing up onto Tempo Storm. SSG really should have snowballed this, just ran over them, but they didn't necessarily spot the players, but nonetheless, it was an engagement there. You see Shoot to Kill, though, pushing up onto this, recognizing this is the potential for a third party. But in a couple of moments, you're going to spot out that they don't actually commit onto it. They are going to pull back. And that's because they don't want to tunnel vision on one section of the map. They're already inside the circle. They also don't want to get third party themselves, or I guess that would make it a fourth party. But yeah, Adam, he's peeking down, but he's not spotting anyone. And so he's not overextending, he's not over pushing his angle. He gets a couple of bullets down, but he doesn't want to commit. They have to push up onto that ridge. Anyone on the opposite ridge on the eastern side could have easily taken shots at them. You fought against me on this, though. You think they should have committed?
I mean, so I think that they sent 2 and they held 2. And they're in a situation here where they ultimately pulled back. They didn't finish off SSG. I think it was one of those situations where you could have sent 2 out, possibly walked away with 4 kills there, because it was double knocks on SSG.
Sure.
Maybe you lose 2 people to Crossfire, but you still pick up 4 points. They ended up in 4th place with 4 points and 5 kills anyway, which they almost already had. So it's one of those things like, are those 4 kills or at least are 2 kills worth the potential sacrifice? So I stand by that. Always take a risk if the reward is enough to gross you a team wipe. Now, let's talk about the plane as it came in, kind of opposite what we've been seeing, a bit of a horizontal plane path here, allowed almost everything to be played.
Except Los Higos, but no one goes down there anyway.
No one goes to Los Higos.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Reno.
But Noble, actually, again, changing the loot spot. They're still playing, they're sort of trying to figure out the first steps of their early game. That's not a good look for them.
And again, that's what worries me. Teams still trying to figure out the first steps of the early game. We're well past the baby step phases. It's time to start running instead of crawling. Now, this circle was about as opposite of the NPL circle, as Macho likes to call it, as we have ever seen. And no one had an easy path to get there.
No, and you saw actually a lot of people take damage from the blue. I'm curious on how much blue damage happened this game compared to previous games, just because you have to come in from the west. But if you're like on the 3rd tier outside, you gotta wait for the tier in front of you to go in, and they gotta wait those in front of them, and so it's a whole like queue.
Now, I will say, Smoking Aces had the blessings of the Circle Gods towards the back end of that game, but they had to travel a long way and fight their way to get there. They came out with 6 kills in the end, and part of it, M249.
Only 6 kills, though.
Yeah.
That will show you the strength that a lot of teams are choosing to play on the edge, because that gives you more potential for kills. Smoking Aces, they held down the center. but they didn't get as many points as they could have.
And that's the nature of the beast, because Smoke and Aces won the game with 6. But you know what? When we look at that scoreboard in a little while, I guarantee that WC Wildcard actually won the game if you look at total amount of points. And that's what it comes down to. Racking up the kills, making the circles work for you, but always finding how do you put up the biggest point totals in this game. And that's really been the mantra, I think, across all of NPL since the season started is kills, kills, kills. Holy cow, they're worth a lot. Now here's the, there we go, rankings for match 3. Wildcard Gaming finishes in first place.
Now it's only by 2 because the drop off of points from first to second place in placements is a total of 4, which is a lot, but still, Wildcard with the 12 kills, that's gonna put them over the top of Smoke and Aces, who only have 16.
Yeah, other things that stand out to us right now, United is in 8th with another kind of low kill showing. Endemic, who was very strong coming into this weekend, has felt a little bit endemic lately, as they are putting up okay kill counts at 5, but their placements have just not been there.
They're not the only ones. I'm looking at Tempo Storm, I'm looking at Tempt Fate as well. Teams that are really starting to slip. But Shoot to Kill continuing to climb it up, only 3rd place. They got 4th overall with the 5 kills, 9 points. That's not a bad takeaway.
It's funny because Shoot to Kill and WTF are 2 teams that I've always approximated a little bit because they've gone to a lot of internationals together. They always sort of work together. And they're playing opposite. SDK has been on the rise, while WTF feels like it's been a little bit on the decline. Overall rankings, you can see that that is coming true.
That rise still hasn't given Shoot to Kill the first place yet,
close,
but it's only 3 points.
Tempo.
It was over 20 at the start of the day.
That's what I was going to say. So huge climb. Tempo, but is that due to Shoot to Kill playing out of their minds, or Tempo giving way too much slack?
It's more on Tempo's side, because Shoot to Kill, they've had an all right day, but it hasn't been amazing. It's more of Tempo not living up to their first 2 weeks.
Well, those are 2 teams that I want to keep an eye on. Good news, the 4 teams will be featuring in match 4 are Shoot to Kill, Tempo Storm, Cloud9, and Space Station Gaming. They're currently the top 4 in the standings, and all eyes will be on them as we head into Game 4 back on Erangel. Let's go take a look at the players. Cameron, talk to me a little bit more about Space Station Gaming.
Space Station Gaming, they kind of slowly made their way up into their current position on the leaderboard. They are the longest standing roster here, haven't made a single change since their pickup by the Space Station organization. Very good chemistry, and you can tell that. Their problem, again, continues to be making something good of a bad situation, but they are so good at making a good situation even better.
Can the power of friendship triumph over good old-fashioned trigger mechanics? That's their story. The next team we'll be keeping an eye on is Cloud9. It's been a kind of a back and forth day for Cloud9. They finished 16th in the last match. They finished 6th in the one before with only 1 kill. And going back to the first game where they actually had a pretty good showing at 3rd and 5th. K-Mine has been phenomenal. Lobes, I watched him pubbing the other day, and if you like streams, this guy is insane. He went to 11 kills, was putting in work on solo squads. 11 kills and then died to a red zone, unfortunate for him. But a lot of fun to watch, his control of Pachinki. Yeah, and honestly, that's, I think, where there's much of their power comes from the fact that they drop right in the middle of the map on both maps. They don't have to travel very far, and they're very, very aggressive with their play.
And they can shoot, but who else can shoot? Shoot to Kill. It's in their name. It's in their lifeblood. It is in their team strategy. Very good team.
Nice.
I still like our black hole analogy, but we're going to stick with the Iron Man.
Iron Man of PUBG sounds great.
Plus, we're going to double down on that.
Who can sit in a chair like that? Not me. They said that they have also been referred to as shoot to the middle because that's their style. They loot fast and they go straight to the middle. So Shoot to Kill has absolutely been a standout team as far as I'm concerned in this final day. And our last team, the one that we're going to be looking at here, is Tempo Storm. The leaders, the riders of the storm, Maluk, Sharky, ya boy Dre, and Zanpa. We got to listen to their comms on that victory that they had yesterday, and I gotta be honest, I was impressed with it. Maluk, kind of the voice of reason, Sharky wanting to play that aggression, Dre in the background saying, keep comms clear. Like, he was sort of like the level-headed man on the whole team, and their communication seems really, really good for a bunch of guys who, when you meet them, they're kind of quiet, they keep to themselves-ish. They really seem to handle the comms well and be a good quality unit. I was super impressed with them.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be. They are in first place. We're giving them a little bit of flack today, but they're still number 1.
All right, that is it for us over here on the Little Desk. Let's head over to the Han, Luke, and Leia of PUBG. Porosaurus, Match'em, and WTF Moses.
Just to be clear, I'm Leia. Damn it.
I thought you guys were going to make me Leia. I was already sitting here looking down at the ground like, oh, it's coming. They're about to
I'm
call me
Leia for sure, man. I got the hair for it.
I don't know even where to go.
Well, we're headed into game number 4. We're headed back to the green pastures of Erangel. Erangel. There you go. Perfect. You nailed it. For Space Station, that was it's been a good day for Space Station, I would say, overall.
Overall, yeah. I mean, look, any day you can come out with a win, I mean, it's huge.
Well, and a more active Space Station game.
Yes.
I think that's the big factor inside of it. We're seeing them play more aggressive, and I gotta say, it's paying off for them.
Toffees was being a little bit generous to C9. I think they've, I guess the 6th place is a nice finish, but they've been playing just, they've not been having the best luck today.
Not their
transitions.
For Shoot to Kill, it's kind of not the same story as Cloud9. They've been playing well, kind of their style. Like where their worst game is like a 6th place, and they get 6 kills, and they're not too flashy. But they've been creeping up the leaderboard based on Tempo Storm's lack of performance.
Well, I find that Shoot to Kill is always the team that dictates how everybody else fights. They always get in these positions, and they force people to move around them and force other teams to fight. They don't necessarily always kill everyone, but they force everybody else to kill each other.
And you go Tempo in 1st place, but here we go. Last game of the day. Let's take it back to Erangel.
And it's going to be a situation with the...
You like that?
He'll get a 1 day, man. Like, we got to get this guy like one of those enunciation charts where just everything. Anyway, the plane's in the air. People are jumping out of it. That's how the game starts, everybody, in case you haven't been watching for the last little while. Speaking of which, we are at the midpoint of the season, Matt.
Oh, without a doubt, this is starting to get... This is the well, I was going to say something I couldn't say.
The split.
Yeah, we're halfway through the split. Everybody has to play their hearts out as they move through this. I mean, we're starting to see a little bit of life. We were talking about some of the teams that we were watching down towards the bottom of the leaderboard earlier today. Vicious Gaming having a little bit of a step up, moving up, all things considered. Lazarus having a little bit more shines of life. They're coming into the late game, getting involved in fights. But really, I don't know, like if your team's like Noble right now, you're trying to figure out what's going on, but it doesn't figure out whatever you're trying to figure out just doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, I think at this point, at the end of the day, you can definitely take a sit down, look at the leaderboards and look at all the teams and say, okay, these guys have been overperforming, these guys have been underperforming, these guys are performing about how we expected them to. And to be honest, for me, Noble, about how I'm expecting them to.
Really?
Okay. Look, they had a great game to get in here. I was expecting a little bit more out of Lazarus. Y10 Fate, I think, is performing about as well as we expected them to. Tempo as well. And Tempo actually going to a new little loot spot here.
Smoke and Aces has decided to leave Y10 Fate alone this game for some reason. Looks like Tempo Storm has taken over Watertown. That's a weirdly coordinated.
Yeah, well, and it's you never really see Tempo go to Watertown, and there's never really any vehicles there, so it's not like they were dropping to get some vehicles to go to their normal spread loot spot. And now we have our new. Oh my God, this circle.
And now Shoot to Kill is like, well, the last man on the bench, they have to go to Zarky.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to jump back what you guys were talking about the people down towards the bottom of the leaderboard.
Right.
Remember, next week, we've got the NPL Royale that's going to be going on, where all the contender teams are going to be playing against the NPL teams. So a lot of these teams down towards the bottom now going to have to potentially be looking at their competition.
So Noble's going to get a taste of what it feels like to be in contenders?
Oh, yikes. 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 So, yeah, you never know. Noble could pull it out in the last 2 weeks. Like we said, we're only at the halfway point, and we have seen them in the past bring everything they needed to do on that last day of the season, or when they needed to. When it was on the line, Noble produced.
Hopefully they've got more of that in the tank.
But they've only got 40 points right now, so I wouldn't wait much longer than this, Noble, if you're waiting to pull something out here.
Pull it out or get out.
Yeah. Oh, well, look at.
Yeah. I made eye contact with you on that one,
Moses. Right. That's what I want, eye contact.
I was trying to talk. I was trying to avoid it, and we're going to focus on Tempo riding 4 deep to the UAS just to get to their normal loot location. But there's our circle, and it is hideous. Hideous.
There's some water in it.
And speaking of water, United looks like they might have had a little issue there. They're already down to 3 with Dill Hero being lost, but they do have center circle. And United, another one of those teams that we kind of underperforming, I think.
I wonder if Taro will take it back to the totality days and just immediately jump into the bay between Milta and Primorsk.
Oh my God. Okay, guys, if you have not been around competitive PUBG in a long time, be thankful for what you have now, and you don't have to deal with the mermaid life and the 20 solos diving into the water in Circle 5 just to survive as long as possible.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I just have completely blocked that from my memory. I have no idea how much fun it is to cast people floating in water staring at each other.
Thank base player unknown for fixing that that little issue with the water. But here we go. Let's take a look at Cloud9. Do you think they can pull something out here in this last game of the day to go home and at least feel a little bit good about, because so far just not a great day for them.
I've been wondering about their comms. Like we see these little snippets between games. You guys, the terrific production here is good at yanking out interesting bits of audio. And we saw the moment last week from Profi making a mad dash. Basically calls it himself. He's like, I got a knock, let's push. Jumps in a car, just drives away from his team. And maybe that's kind of a summation of what's going wrong with Cloud9. Maybe it's a communication issue. Maybe some players have different ideas as to how to win games than others.
Perhaps. It could be, as you see Lobes trying to make his way over in here. One thing I will say about this, we were complimenting them on it last game about how quick they are to loot and rotate. This time, taking a little bit longer, taking a little bit slower, maybe pulling back a little bit.
Well, with a circle like this, that's not too surprising. I mean, there's not a lot of land to be really fought for at this stage. We have a lot of teams that are going to be moving early, so almost at this point, if you're a team that always moves towards the center or moves towards one of the harder locations, deciding to play edge this time around isn't necessarily the worst idea.
No, especially when you know that circle eventually is going to be cutting back hard west. So you got to assume that the western parts of this circle, playing the edge on this side, is not really that scary.
It feels like it's been a quiet team as far as wins from our top teams in general. Like, we haven't necessarily seen Cloud9 be super dominant. We haven't seen YTEM Fate has been almost non-existent today.
Yeah, it's been rough for YTEM Fate, mostly due to, I think, a bad start in the first game, getting Hypoc out. They're not a very tiltable team, but it's a situation where, potentially, I'm going to guess restart. That's going to be my guess.
Uh-oh. No. We'll find out.
Looks all the players are looking at each other. So
all the players are looking around. They're not looking at us, guys.
Hey,
look, I'm assuming that this is a restart again.
Yes, it is. We're going to restart the game. I think we had one player crash out of the plane. So.
Yeah, that was Dill Hero.
Yeah.
Dill Hero from United. We saw him at the very tail end on the north side of the map, just drowning it out. So we'll get the lobby back up and going here shortly. But what were we talking about?
Cloud9 communicating.
Cloud9, yeah.
Well, and also YTEM Fate. Like, necessarily the fact that in the games that we've seen today, our leaders haven't, like, Tempo Storm has still been Tempo Storm without a doubt.
Right.
But everybody, I would say, back behind them in those 5 spots back behind it, we haven't really seen a whole bunch from them, and that's what allowed teams like, I'd say, Space Station Gaming to really creep their way up inside the leaderboard.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of how you make that play, is you have a good day on the days that good teams are having bad days. And if you're Space Station Gaming or Smoking Aces or any of the teams that have found success today, knowing when to jump on the gas, when you see Tempo Storm went out early, we need to make this a good game. That's a big boost to your mentality, or a big boost to your forward momentum, I think, if you're some of the lower end teams.
I think that a shining example of that was that fight that we saw with Envy and Ghost. Whenever we saw the Envy players, they kept thinking about going up and pushing towards Ghost on Miramar, if you remember, across that hill, but then kept looking back down to their cars. That's a very telling movement, in my opinion. Like, we want to go, but we also want to just, like, fight this out, but we also want to go, what do we do?
It's a waste of time.
Execute. Yeah.
They waste a bunch of time, and then they look at each other. Venerated jumps in his car, makes a rotate back to the edge of the circle, gets caught out, they lose him, and then it just kind of comes apart. That was a relatively salvaged round, at least for Envy. But the decisive action from Envy, I think, is their throttle right now, where if they just take it to the next step, get aggressive, take a couple of risks, maybe you get some reward.
You know what I want to see? I want to see Noble not all 4 in one car on their first rotation. I don't know what is happening with their vehicle situation, but it feels like they're always just in one vehicle and then just get destroyed.
They've been forced into bad positions early game. I mean, they've been forced into bad positions off of scrims, if we're being honest.
Right.
They're getting put. They've gotten pushed out of different normal drop locations that they used to call home by teams like Smoking Aces, who gets in there and just irritates everybody, the living hell out of everybody at some point. And Noble just having a hard time. Look at Lynx.
I know, I was going to say, staring into the soul. Even, the little bit of a blink when somebody pops him on the side of the face with, what was that, a hand warmer?
A hand warmer, yeah. Like, hey, they like at least simplicity keeping their stuff going.
Well, just a reminder here for the week coming up. We have in general, I should say, on Tuesdays we have contenders. So if you're a big fan of Pro PUBG and you want to see those trying to get their way into NPL, check it out on Tuesdays 4 o'clock. And this is all in Pacific time. So again, we have our head-to-head on Wednesdays as well as pre-game loot. Obviously Fridays, that's NPL day, and we have Saturdays as well with NPL. But we also have NPL Insider on Saturdays. So if you're looking for all the content that we're producing here for the NPL, you can check them out on these dates and times. And I got to say, watching pre-game loot, watching Richard tearing the teams is always a fun time.
Oh boy, yeah, you're not lying. And look, NPL Insider. Yeah, it's amazing. Like I'm a huge fan of that show so far. If you haven't gotten a chance to check out an episode just yet, it's a really good insight into what these players' lives are like now that they're here, all moved into LA and having to live around each other, with each other all the time. So it's pretty good.
It's one of those really fun behind the scenes kind of moments where you actually get to see like teams and how they're interacting outside of in the game, and then just kind of goof off a little bit.
And if you think that they show a crazy amount of emotion when they're staring blankly into the camera, let me tell you, they really cut loose on the weekdays.
Well, you say that, but it's really funny. Like the guys that do like the dead stares right at the camera are usually the ones that are like goofing off backstage and doing stuff like that. So it's kind of nice to see them like break character, for lack of a better term, and kind of goof off.
Look, hey, when you get in here again, it's game day. You're clocked in, right? You're out here to earn your money, and I like seeing it from Lynxy, honestly.
Well, just a reminder, we are going through a lobby restart. It doesn't happen very often, but it happens from time to time. But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back as soon as we can.
Love you. Bye.
Up and around this terrain, it's really not going to be easy. And and here's Maluk.
Here's the problem. He wanted to get away from Endemic.
Wait, what? How did you die?
Oh my god.
So now he runs himself over with the car? Whoa! No! Of all the ways to eliminate your squad.
Well, the early game really reduced United's own rotations, but speaking of rotations here...
Oh my god, really?
It's actually going to be Baja that hits a nade onto Hypoc. That's not intentional.
Oh, no. I need an inside, careful.
Oh my god, nade on you.
They're pushing. Sorry, Park.
Very good. One of them's knocked. One of them's knocked. Zampa's knocked.
Easy gets knocked through here. Look at this nice path.
Oh. Yeah, he's running on the hill.
I see him. I'm shooting.
What the fuck? Knock one. Yo, wildcard likes to do the split. We should crush that.
Yeah, I saw more than two.
I killed one already.
I hit him once. He's in the concrete. He's in the concrete, Robbie.
I'm crashing it.
Go with Robbie.
I'm here. Hold on. I'm late.
There's two there. Come back.
I told you there was two there. I told you that.
Okay. Just shoot back. This is a risky play.
Yeah. Yo, this is.
I can't come back.
Nerf. Listen, this is gonna shift out.
Let Robbie listen.
Let me play.
The better blow up here.
I know. I might blow up here.
Get out. Woo! Can't cover you.
Actually, just blew up.
Nice to get circle favor, but at this point, you just got to try to survive. Oh, damn. Remember, he was the last member. We saw what...
You can drive right here, Blue.
I'm stuck.
Okay,
yeah, Loebs is probably dead.
I can try and cover you. Hold on.
Wait, what? They already know that Wildcard is still up and the only team left on the west side.
Wildcard might wrap west.
Okay. There's still people at Yellow Mark.
There's a guy inside that building.
Yeah, inside this compound, and there's still people across zone on Yellow Mark.
Yeah, you guys can push to this hill right here on blue now.
Yep.
I think he's in that house. Yeah, he's in the house.
Do we just dive it, bro? We win if we dive it.
I don't know. Do we?
We only have the bus. We can two dive in the bus and two hold from Zampa's spot. Don't dive by yourself.
Wait, don't dive it.
He's in the right house, I can outside the right house.
Yeah, we can smoke and just run out.
Okay, I'm down. Remember, there's still people in this compound. Don't go down.
I might go down. He's peeking the right house. He has a 3 helm, 3 gear. Wildcard's wrapping.
Wait, Wildcard's already on the top of us. I'm in a smoke? Yeah, I'm in a smoke. Oh my god.
This all Yeah, no, I don't think so.
No, I don't think we do. Just peek up this region.
Oh, no.
Now Sharky knows where he's at. Your boy Dre went down inside of the exchange as well.
Wildcard went too slow, and
Sharky
now
trap.
Tempo Storm has the positioning.
Sharky trap.
He's above me, right above me, Nate. Okay, I'm back up.
I see. I don't
Just
think
get on our side. Get on our side.
Get on our side of the ridge. Play our side of the ridge. Don't over challenge.
I can smoke for you.
Don't over challenge that Sharky. Don't give him the knock.
I have the peek. I want to Nate can.
I'm looking in 2 seconds.
Wait, move in.
This last one goes center. Just do not throw.
I have to. He's on me. I'm on my left.
Okay, can you back down? You don't
back down. You can body peek down. Right over the bridge.
Okay.
Close left.
One left. One bullet.
I see. Eyes on the tree, Zampa.
Nice.
Good
shit.
Good job, boys.
Good shit, guys.
Oh, dude, Shark, you should have just stayed in your hut, man. Like, you let them get right up on you. You almost got down crossing to the other one for whatever reason.
They smoked my hut, though.
So what? Like, so what if they smoke it?
And there is the insight coming from Wildcard and Tempo Storm. There's two things I learned from that last clip. The first thing is that Sharky has one mode, and that's kill or don't do anything else. And then, unfortunately for Tumai, it's just like looking around your teammates. Oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. I mean, man, that's a top 2 situation. It's going to be rough to deal with. And also Profi just doing whatever he wants.
Well, you can tell like how much emotion that these guys have whenever it comes in. That's a second place finish with a high amount of kills, and they still weren't pleased with it. But again, Sharky, you can hear all the teammates. He was sitting there, he's like, I can go, I can get this guy. He's at my left. And they're like, no, play our side. Make sure to play around it. And those are like really smart call outs to know. Like a lot of times whenever you're playing with your friends, you overextend out and you forget the line of sight of the people behind you. So that's a great call out from the teammates, Tempo Storm, being like, hey, no, you cross over that way, we can't protect you.
You need like one of those toddler leashes. It's like, no, Sharky, you come back here.
No, Maluk, I mean, Maluk, you could see he had some great shot calling coming out of Maluk there. And, you know, as well as Dre and Sharky kind of feeding information, but Maluk kind of serving as that overall meta, you know, look, don't do this because then you'll be out of our line of sight and then we won't be able to protect you and yada, yada, yada. So great example of what makes Tempo so great there through that.
Knowledge, awareness, talking to each other.
As well
and I mean, that's why they're sitting at the leaderboards where they're at.
Maluk's been around a really, really long time. Again, we're still getting through the lobby restart. It takes a little while to spool things back up. I love watching that Profi clip, man. It's like, I got a knock. I'm just going to jump this Murado and off I go.
That is
and he says later, like,
Profi, though.
I mean, yeah.
To be fair, that's the way I like to play PUBG, too. You know, it's like whenever you get the knock, it's like, let's go. Let's just charge him. We have the numbers advantage. Doesn't matter that they can res in 10 seconds. It'll be fine.
Well, he had good reasoning on it. If you go back and you listen, he's like, look, we got the knock. We know Wildcard likes to do this split. That shows that we've been doing our research. We know how they like to play. So immediately jumping into the car, pushing in. Unfortunately, they weren't in that 2-2 split at the time. And,
but to be fair, Profi did make it back over with his teammates inside that round. If you remember.
Yeah, that was definitely calculated, as they say.
But he managed
this is
to
a risky
survive.
play. My car's on fire. Everything is fine.
Everything's
it's okay.
It's fine.
It all ended up fine in the end.
The entire time, Lobes, not a word. Even when he knocked himself sliding down the ridge, he was just like.
He's a man of facial expressions, not of words. He's just like, I kill, I go this direction.
Oh, what are you gonna do whenever you get in that position? You just kind of slippery rocks, man. Slippery rocks.
Well, let's take a look at some of these stats here. Things have been stacking up, and there it is. It's Cloud9. They're doing pretty good, regardless of whether or not Profi's diving random compounds and Lobes isn't talking at all.
Look, they've had a rough day, but overall, still sitting in a great spot.
Yeah, they're doing really good. I mean, third, second, third, that's not a bad position whatsoever. They're over 1,000 damage, and that's I mean, really good, looking really good for Cloud9. It hasn't been that way today.
That's true. And these are numbers coming into today.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So those overall numbers might drop down a little bit more. But Space Station, again, we were talking about how kind of low as far as the damage and the kills go. Look, tied for 9th and 11th in overall damage, yet they're still overall 4th in points. I mean, placement, these guys are placement kings.
They can figure out a way to sneak into any circle, it feels like. And now that they're starting to come a little bit more alive in kills, getting those extra points, it is so good for Space Station game.
Well, looking at the scores, this is actually up to the minute scores for everybody here. So this is, again, Cloud9, even though they haven't been having a terrific day, they've done enough in other days to make sure that they maintain their positioning here. Space Station Gaming climbing, now in 9th place. Their kill count increasing as well as their damage.
And that's the thing, all right? Bad days are going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to happen to every team. It doesn't matter who you are. And the question is, how good are you as a team? How good is your communication? How good is your relationship with each other to be able to go back at the end of today, sit down and say, okay, what do we do to fix this? And then come into tomorrow with a good mentality.
Now, look at this. We've got Tempo Storm that's sitting up at the top of the leaderboard. Shoot to Kill's been climbing it, but look at the changes in points and positionings as they go through there. I gotta say, Shoot to Kill has just been dominant these past couple of games.
I mean, these past couple of weeks. I mean, look, they, up until the point where they got their win, they were kind of sitting a little bit lower, and all of us were just surprised because they were sitting so high as far as, like, you know, damage and kills and all the relevant categories go. It just wasn't there for placement. Now it's there.
Your ability to react to change is extremely important in PUBG. Adapt, as they say in many circles, but for Shoot to Kill, they did well. I mean, after the first week, they retuned, did what they had to do, and now they find themselves just out of first place, barely. So they're catching up as best they can, but guess what? We're going to try it again. We're going back to Erangel. Everyone's already on the ground, and it looks very similar to the last game.
Yeah, new circle, though. There's a much better circle,
God,
actually.
what's happening by YTM Fate?
This is a way much better circle. As Smoking Aces were in Severny, they decided to go back to Ruins, and you can see Cherry Poppins already taking those shots across.
Well, you know what? I will say, at least for Smoking Aces and YTM Fate, at least they have a few more people to shake it up a little bit out of Watertown. For Tempo Storm, they're doing just fine. They're in their tempo strategy. Everything's great.
This is what they do. It's the tried and true strategy that they've been running for what feels like forever. As far as this team is gone, they always run this trash strategy, separate out, and they regroup so quickly. And that's one of the things that so many teams do not do well. When the circle pops on you and you're separated as four, regrouping early.
Talking to Maluk, actually in the pregame, he came up to me and gave me some interesting information. He handed me a note that says, Choco Taco sucks.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure what that was about, but regardless, Maluk, we called him Toxic Tempo last time around, so.
Well, look, hey, if you come in and you're in first place, whoever's sitting in first place, you can talk whatever trash you want to whomever you want to, because what are they going to do? Come stop me. If you don't like that I'm trash talking you, come kill me. Come do it.
And that's a part of how this all plays out, though. But you got to be really dangerous with that when you got a lot of these teams like Shoot to Kill. I mean, their stats are starting to look pretty freaking crazy. If you count out those first, like, I want to say first day or two, the first week was kind of rough for them a little. But, man, they're really turning it around.
Or if you got a team like Smoking Aces who just doesn't give a damn, they'll just drop on anybody at any time and try to get those early game kills.
And you know what? Define came up to us like, are you going to give us some love now? Yes, Define, you won a game. We're all clapping for you, buddy. I mean, and that's what they need. They need to translate that early game aggression into late game success, and it just takes staying alive and not dying in rotation.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is, you know, he was saying, like, what, 4th overall in kills, 4th overall, and that's great, and that's a really good job by them. And I mean, to be 4th overall in kills in this lobby as that team, that's very unexpected, and they're performing admirably. But you're also sitting in 10th place.
Lesson learned to all the players: don't go up to Moses and Poro and say, "Hey, please talk about us," because they're like,
what?
"Please talk about us. We did great," and they're all like,
"We're gonna trash talk you."
Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and say, "No."
I mean, look, I'm not necessarily trying to trash talk them per se.
Yeah, I would never.
But look, you know, the facts are the facts, right? You're sitting in 4th place in overall kills, but you're in 10th place in overall placement because you haven't been able to translate that good high kill mentality into late game performance. Now, they were able to pull that off last game, and that's a step in the right direction for sure.
This is kind of interesting. Looks like Cloud9 was thinking about going over where Space Station Gaming was going. Space Station Gaming with an early rotate. That's going to force Cloud9 to retreat back just a little bit. Driving around inside the fields that are just south of Gatka, that's kind of like a no man's land. And really looks like they decided that they're going to go ahead and claim those hillsides.
Profi is like, it's like the movie Speed for all you millennials out there. If he stops moving, he explodes.
He's like right in the middle of the field just looking around, and like D-Master's like, do I take any shots?
Is there seriously somebody sitting out there?
It's like, guys, this is Circle 1. What is going on? Why are you here and standing behind a rock?
Just crash. Time to crash his compound. People are shooting at me. Go, Profi.
Yeah, like you can see the look on Smurf's face. He's like, I can't believe that this guy is out here right now.
I am utterly confused. I have no idea what is happening.
Well, we'll see what happens here. Is Space Station might get the easiest quick kill here on Profi. Okay, he looks like he's going to be able to get into the U.S. and try to make his way out. He's going to skirt back and forth, and he should be fine.
Please
it almost feels like Profi was like, I want to go this way. They took the building that we want. Can we go kill them, please? And everybody else on the team's like, no, let's stay here. And Profi's like, but I want to kill them. They're over there.
I got a knock, I swear. Let's dive. Push. Well, all right, now C9 has themselves a nice little spot here in the middle space station, a little bit more towards the coast. We can see Tempo also moving in just to the west of C9, really committing towards center here, regardless of what the terrain looks like around them. Kind of surprising here from C9, actually.
Well, Space Station Gaming also following a similar mindset. Just go crash center, play for placement. We talk about this is what they do. They always go for placement. Kills have always been secondary, but now being a little bit more active. But yes, Boro, like you're pointing out right there, all the way up to the north, it's going to be Oxy looking back over to shoot to kill, as well as Noble in this general location as well.
This is about to get crazy as Curdy's going to get taken out by Jason. Great shots coming out from the AK, and that's going to be shoot to kill. Losing one in transition already. Alo right on the backside of this.
We don't see this very often, shoot to kill, losing one early in rotation like that. That's not something they're going to be very comfortable with here in the early stages.
But it's an adaptation coming out from Oxy. We talked about this. These guys are learning every single game. Now look, they're starting to figure out rotation paths, strong points to hold, try to pick up an extra kill here or there. Weaken the teams, get yourself some points. I like it.
Their first game on Orangel today, they ended up with, I think, around 6 or 7 kills. Not a very high placement, but that was still something we haven't seen coming out from Oxy, a relatively high kill count game. And so, again, these are things that we need to see from these teams at the lower end of the bracket if they're going to try to make that top 10 and avoid relegation.
This top half of the circle is going to have a little bit more pressure than we would see normally with that channel again being in play. A little bit of the military island still in play as well. So for Lazarus and Space Station Gaming, they're squaring off in the home turf of Space Station where they like to loot, or at least have in the past around that Ferry Pier area.
Looks like Space Station Gaming is trying to get a little bit more information. They know that somebody went over next to the gas station. Not necessarily playing it too aggressive. You can still see Smurf is looking around. Naturally, Space Station Game perfectly fine being passive right at the beginning.
Yeah, this is a Space Station opting to go for a 2-2 split with a compound and then the hillside just to the south of it rather than doing the hillside and the gas station, which is something we also see from time to time. So Lazarus going to take that opportunity, take that advantage, gain that gas station position.
Space Station Gaming is like a spy network instead of like a PUBG team. They're always gathering all of the information all the time. They're like, okay, there's a guy over here, there's a guy here. They won't necessarily execute off of it until in-game, but they know where everybody is at any given time, it feels like.
I think execution is important. If you have a team fight that you could maybe win decisively, early game, mid game, late game, if you're Space Station and considering how much value is on kills, go for it. Yeah. See what happens.
And it's also a lot of trigger discipline if you think about it. Everybody sits there and waits until it's finally like, okay, it is time for us to shoot. They will sit there and they will watch everybody. And it's just like, they're kind of just spectating like, oh, look, he's going over there, he's picking up some stuff, everything's fine. I'm kind of curious on how much information they relay to the teammate. It's like, oh, I think he just picked up a med kit. There we go. Oh, Alex, taking a little bit of damage.
Good effort.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is like you said, Space Station likes to gain that information, likes to know what they're getting into before they take their shots. But at the same time, they're also really good in the forced 4v4 fights when the fight is brought to them. So they have the best of both worlds, really.
Looking at the new circle as it's about to change up. We're going to be seeing this, the water staying a little bit, but it's going to be around Primorsk, that quarry area, as we've seen time and time again. Poro.
Yeah, the quarry, definitely a big player in this one. You can see Endemic already making their way towards the center of the circle. There is a nice loot package right in the dead center. Wildcard, Endemic, Oxy all may have eyes on this, but they need to be careful here as everybody's starting to collapse in.
Look at the rotation. So many teams making their way down through here at the time. Lazarus already on the move. Just like you were talking about, Moses, up towards the north, could we have a lot of congestion as far as teams and how they're rotating through. But with Quarry being in play, hey, that rock came out of nowhere, that's fine.
Damn it. Everything's fine. It's all that weight on the bottom of the U.S. keeps it upright. Now, Tempo Storm is going to be looking to be very good in this, at least early positioning. They've finished their loot phase. They've condensed in the very familiar compounds where they do all that looting, and they're in the center of the zone just outside of Quarry.
Oh, this is Oxy getting caught out by Endemic as they try to rotate past the opening of the mouth of Quarry. Going to make their way in just to that sniper area. They should remain all 4 alive, but that's not an ideal spot there.
Ghost very late to the zone, coming past Envy.
a lot of damage thrown out from Minifridge and the rest of the guys on Dimic, but not a lot of it really landing until they're towards the end. All things considered, that was a fairly safe rotation right by Endemic from Oxy. I'm kind of surprised with that. We've been seeing them do a lot more. Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Oh, the lawn darts.
It's okay. It's okay. It's going to land.
Hey. Minifridge just willed it. Put that butt down.
Just gonna lean back.
This is actually, I don't necessarily know if I agree with this reposition here by Endemic.
I, for one, think our vehicle physics are great.
Well, you can tell.
It acted just the way it should, right?
Minifridge agrees. Did you see that? They ran down and came back up. And all right, Cloud9 hitting some shots back over towards Frolicker. You can see McCoy in a little bit of trouble as well. He's gonna get dropped. This really random spread that we can see from Cloud9 paying off as they're netting some free points in rotation.
They're so late. Ghost come barreling in on the strong side of the zone, just straight through teams in the Pachinki field, or the southern Pachinki field, I should say, and they lost too easy.
I love the fadeaway horn honk there, just being like, haha, nobody was expecting us to be there.
Yeah, I mean, Ghost definitely not expecting that. But, I mean, look, they were late, but they were playing the edge, and that's something that we've been seeing them do. And, you know, maybe playing the edge, but then trying to make your way into the next circle by going straight in is not the best idea.
I don't know if I would call that the edge strategy, personally. I don't know what the mindset was, but normally if you're going to do that, you're going to kind of come in, see what's happening first before you come barreling in through vehicles as 4. I mean, they weren't all in one vehicle, mind you, but Envy was right behind them, and they didn't take any damage.
Well, you saw that Y-Temp Fate came up along the side of Quarry right here, but then it was actually Endemic taking some shots at him. Oxy hit a very nice down off of this, and so now we've got a little bit of a three-way fight. You can see 2 members of Endemic are posted up over here. There's a 2-2 split with the other members from Endemic back behind them.
Minifridge getting finished off in that position by shoot to kill too, so that is really unfortunate for Endemic. You would figure they'd have the opportunity to get that res off.
Hetror pressuring, looking for any openings, but Hetror is getting pressure in return. They're in kind of an open spot. This is a cool area, I think, for Y-Temp Fate to hold on to. They've got the rocks to work with. They've got good cover. They have high ground as well. And they have the ability to exert edge control around the ridge of the quarry. But the issue is that people can see them from long distance there.
Yeah, it's Lazarus that's off on the other hill just to the south of them, taking a couple of pot shots and forcing them to reposition. New circle pops, and look at this, still staying around quarry. Got a little bit of the beach still in play, as well as Primorsk.
Lazarus in a really good spot right here in those hills just to the south of Quarry, right in the center of the circle. You know, whenever you see circles pop like this, there always ends up being huge fights around Quarry, all around that area right where that care package is in those hills. But to the south, these guys just end up picking up a ton of kills.
Ghost is not in a good spot here. They're basically 2 men in a shack. Gonna start roasting some marshmallows or something, telling ghost stories, but they're stuck there as long as Space Station has them sewn in.
Well, that beach that's down to the south of where we see Space Station Gaming at right now is still inside the circle, but it's essentially a no man's land. There's a couple of shacks, things that you can play off of. Most people might just try to rotate around that location, but that's really going to be about it. And now we can see Space Station Gaming got Envy starting to make their way close to him.
This could end up being really, really crazy here as we see right now Shoot to Kill and Simplicity trying to make a long rotation down from the north side all the way to the south.
Let's see if Envy commits to this. I want to see a strong team fight here.
Here we go.
Here are the shots coming through. H1's looking back down towards, I'm sorry, Quinn. I got to make sure I'm saying that right. Running down and gets knocked down from Taro, so now making his way up the hillside. That's the knock that could make Envy come alive, but it's Vicious Gaming on the angle with it. VZ hits a nice shot onto Taro. Now Pat Caps and the rest of the crew going to have to figure out how they're going to adapt to this.
This is Vicious Gaming coming out of the circle, immediately opening up onto this fight and third partying. As you see, Interrogate already down, Venerated very, very low. Vexel and Win both down as well. D-Master trying to work from the rock, and he gets Caden.
They got the smokes down, but that's not helping them, as now Envy has pressure at the front and the back. This is now not looking good for Envy at all. Pat Caps goes down. It's only Venerated left.
And so with this, Venerate stepping up, trying to take the shots onto it. He knows that somebody's in the smokes next to him. Gonna try to step out onto it, trying to hit the shots. He does get the necessary down, but a lot of damage has now come his way. Couple of shots now ringing through. Rest of the guys from Space Station Gaming trying to get their reses off, but it's going to be shots coming in to be the third party. Can Vin have the time necessary to get the med kit off? He can, but look, off in the distance, it's Cloud9. They hear a firefight, and they want to capitalize on it. Vin is the last member of Envy. What's he going to do? Is now it's Cloud9 just taking shots at him. Nerf has the angle.
Cloud9 just taking full advantage of this fight. You can see Smurf is down as well. Vexel, the last one up for Space Station, is Venerated. Going to try to make his way through. Smurf is just going to hide behind this, or Vexel just going to hide behind this rock, lay prone in the smoke for as long as he can.
All right, Vexel still just trying to figure out what is happening. Where did everybody come from? And that's going to be a nice nade from Loaves. But that's 2 squads eliminated from Cloud9 as they are rolling through. And we talk about Cloud9 momentum. They have to be feeling good about that.
And they're pulling up onto this hillside location on the south here, which is where we see them come up with a ton of kills in the past.
Cloud9's done a great job of eliminating so many teams on that south side, or that side that they're on right now, that they have some time and space to move. But it does look like it's Wildcard harassing them at distance. We've seen another circle shift. It's going to move relatively farther away from Quarry. Wildcard and Ghost now sharing the center of the zone, and there goes Smoking Aces, and that's that.
And we have Shoot to Kill off on the angle next to Simplicity. Lynxy is the last member up. You can see Adam is also down, Pintalol and Wooly. So it's Uncivil's holding off on this angle. Check Shooter on the other side of the hill is now down as well. Looks like Uncivil's just trying to see if they can get any damage off. Oh! Nade's going to roll through, and Simplicity is now eliminated. That should be a very easy res coming out from Alo. Get Adam back up.
And they're going to stay with 3. I mean, that's great for Shoot to Kill. They already lost one early in Purdy Curdy to pick themselves up 3 kills. The edge of the zone, they've got about 20 seconds to loot and work with. And then it's going to be a long stretch to get into the quarry. Y10 Fate would have heard that fight. But now for Y10 Fate, do they make the mistake that Envy's made in the past? Do they wait and see if they can gatekeep Shoot to Kill? Or do you try and rotate around quarry and find a new spot in the zone?
41 alive, 12 teams up in Circle 3. What can you say? I mean, this is an insane game right now.
Noble still alive with 4 members.
There you go. Noble, and they have the entire northern part of this circle to themselves, and they have a nice little way to work their way into Endemic, as you see C9.
Why do they hit each other whenever they're driving all the time? It's like, no. It's just like love taps back and forth.
It's not intentional.
This is going to be rough for E United here.
This is going to be a rough for Cloud9 if they're not careful. They're running right through a pretty open plain of the forest. They've got E United shooting on one side. They've got Wildcard watching on the other. Here comes Dill Hero. He's got the sniper shot ready. Lands nothing. Unfortunately, it's a moving vehicle. Hard to hit.
Cloud9 jumps out of the vehicle, but it's going to be Pride that has the shots. Gets the down onto one of them, but look, the rest of Cloud9 trying to figure out where it's all coming from. They're having to information collect very quickly. Balak in a general location around this. Nerf looks like he's trying to go for a little bit of push, but it's actually going to be Oxy that forces them to retreat back. Look at the bullets landing down around Lobes and Profi. Nades are rolling down the hillside. Sharp shot moving forward, trying to get into a position. Is he going to CK mine? Is he going to spot out? The smokes are going to be very hard to see through. It looks like he's going to retreat back just a little bit.
Sharp shot and the rest of Wildcard all over the place. I mean, even Extreme is super far away. Not sure what the setup is for Wildcard.
It was a 2-2 split, and it was almost perfectly set up for Sharpshot to push into this.
There are 3 teams all stacked around this, because remember, Balak is just right inside that shack. Nerf is wanting to cross over the walls. Nades are just going back and forth. That's going to be a bounce out and away. Cloud9 trying to collect what they can. They're just looking to crash through this, but really, Balak could be a game changer here.
Balak's just stay alive for as long as he can to Mai. Just Pride holding the walls, as you can see all the grenades starting to make their way in here as Cloud9 fully committing to this push.
Shoot to Kill, retreating, trying to get away as best he can. Oh, so low.
So much damage coming through, running right by a Wildcard. They're going to get eliminated as well. So with this split that we see Wildcard running, sure, they have a little bit of pressure coming their way from Cloud9, but they are still netting themselves the kills based off of rotation points. So how is Profi going to play this angle? Nades are going to start going back and forth. They have the sightline for it.
You also have Tempo coming up from the hillside here. They hear this fight going on. They could come here in third party at this at any time. C9 going to push into the warehouse.
This is going to be rough. It's going to be Pride trying to defend.
All right, so now we've got Cloud9 holding this angle. We got a little bit of damage off, but Balak still alive back over there.
I have no idea why Sharpshot and Extreme did not come over that hillside and provide support.
I have no idea either. I mean, this split was, they didn't even make an attempt to come that way. Maybe it's just the pathing would be too hard. They couldn't go up the hill. We can see it's free. They don't. They also have Tempo Storm harassing them at distance. Maybe that prevents them collapsing, but that just cost them 2 players.
But look at Y10 Fate. They're kind of caught in a little interesting spot. They got Lazarus that they're shooting with, as well as Oxy that's going to be in a gatekeeping position for them.
All right, Noble, you've got a good circle here.
Now's the time, Noble.
Now is the time to make something happen. Tempo, obviously, in a great position right now. C9 is as well. But you got to see what's going to happen. Yeah, we got to see what's going to happen here between Oxy and Y10 Fate and Lazarus and E United and VG. All these teams on the outside, but Balak just staying alive.
He's got a big bowl of Lucky Charms marshmallows just chilling.
he's got some of McCoy's birthday cake left over for him. He's just gonna nom on that here while being protected by a door. C9 should not be aware of his presence right now, though.
Lazarus rotating late in vehicles. They're making a push for it. They're coming right towards Cloud9.
Looks like they're going to crash under the wall on the other side of this. Cloud9 firmly aware this could be a distraction that Balak is going to allow him to survive for much longer. Now, on the other side, don't forget we have Oxy still caught in a fight with a little bit of wide-timmed Fate, so that could be a crash point for them as well. But a lot of just strong rotations coming into play right now.
C9 sitting on 7 kills right now, and it's going to start getting a little bit bigger here as you see the fight starting to break out between Lazarus, but they're getting third party here from Oxy.
Yeah, this is not looking good. I mean, Profi's way out on a limb trying to collect some more kills. He's got 4 already. Here comes some support from K-Mind. I like the way that they have this good compound control, but again, Balak is an X factor there.
Balak looks very, very comfortable.
I was going to say, he's an X factor in the same way that, I don't know, he's just not going to do anything either, I suppose.
He's a piece of furniture right now.
Exactly.
Oh, could be big. No, Profi's going to retreat back away from that. Wide-timmed Fate is now eliminated, just eliminated Oxy, I believe, or who did they just eliminate?
Yeah, they're working their way through Oxy. Oxy, a couple of players down, but they are all...
What is happening? Tempo Storm is running down too. This is just getting huge. Everybody is just running up right next to each other. United's off on one angle. Tempo Storm is looking down on this. Lazarus is over here. We still have White-Timp Fate and Oxy fighting on the outside of this. There are so many teams just clustered around this spot.
That nade could be okay if he bounces the right way. It's not going to land properly.
Balak managing to get the flush as well. As you can see, Tempo kind of finishing off United as Geis and Pistola Time, the last 2 remaining here.
They're going to switch out. Now Pistola Time's going to walk in. Profi wasn't looking the right way and gets flushed out.
Where were you looking, Profi? That's so rough.
To be fair, there was a ton of explosions. Probably very hard to hear the footsteps inside of that. But a beautiful nade now coming up from Felix. Going to get the down. That sure, you've got some cover inside that warehouse, but there's those windows and everybody is just raining it through. Somehow Lazarus has fought themselves into a great spot.
Nerf trying to work this wall, trying to stay alive for a little bit longer. He might be able to get a res on Lobes here, but Lazarus just keeps raining down grenades inside of that warehouse.
Balak single-handedly broke open this compound when he downed K-Mind.
Now we have a little bit of a skirmish going on the outside of this. Nerf still trying to figure out what he can do. He's going to make it back over to Lobes, potentially get the res onto it, but Tempo Storm still in that high ground spot. Circle goes over, and now everybody down here has to move forward.
Maluk has just gone on like a scouting mission. He's like, is there anybody left up here? I have no idea. We've killed everyone on this side.
Well, they got the entire team of Noble just off to the northwest. They haven't spotted them out. Maluk could end up, if he wraps along too much, he could end up coming into contact.
And that looks like what White-Timp Fate was doing when we saw the map there. They were circling their way around, and looks like they're trying to go up towards the north. They've realized it's just too much chaos down towards the south.
I mean, the southern part of this circle just got absolutely insane. Yeah. Whenever everybody had to move in, they just all decided to push into that warehouse all at once, knowing that it was most likely going to be occupied, not knowing that there was going to be 3 other teams trying to make their way in as well.
Profi tried his best to do something with Lazarus, but there was just so many things happening that Cloud9 could not manage it. Guy's still taking damage. The last man standing looks like he's going to be found out, just trying to crawl out of the line of sight of Sharpshot and Extreme. Wildcard has actually got the benefit here. So many teams went out when it looked so bad for them.
He's just trying to crawl away. You can see it's like, no, it's okay. You don't see me. I'm fine here.
Please, no.
Let everything else happen. Keep in mind, Lazarus actually has the inside track on this circle. Do have 2 members inside of it. A lot of teams going to have to move. Geis is actually inside the circle underneath of where he's at.
Noble has not done very well to spread out and get information from themselves. I think they're a little confused as to where they are right now.
They're playing very, very safe. Yeah. They realize they see 18 alive. They know they have 3 up.
Usually in this circle, everybody's up towards the north. This time, everybody's down the south. So they're like, where's everybody that we're supposed to be fighting at?
Right. They've got a little bit of vision here on White-Timp Fate as Bahawaka and Valley try to make their way into the circle here, sending shots back and forth. But other than that, Noble just all by themselves. As Nerf is going to spot out Whoa and get him very low.
Good. The shots come out. He's going to have to maybe pressure with some utility, but they use so much trying to defend their compound.
So now with this, Lazarus has that defensive line. It's actually going to be Zampa taking a couple of shots back over towards Extreme. Everybody that's one of the outlier teams is starting to take a lot of damage, but look at this site from Tempo Storm. They've just got control of everything, spraying back down in there. There you go. Sharpshot's now taken down as Nerf peeking through a very sneaky little angle there, trying to see if he can see anybody from Lazarus.
Just disgusting from Tempo Storm. Is looking guys going to try to third party this, just seeing everything happen. He hears the gunshots. He sees Nerf's head popping back. Actually, just sees a whole big old wall of smoke right now.
He's just sitting back, like popping up in a drink, just enjoying it. Nade's going to go off to the side. So with this, Fozu is now down from a nice spray from Nerf. So a nice bit of control coming up from that location.
And look at this, Lazarus sending Felix and Sub-Zero into the circle, leaving the 2 boys in the compound to try to finish this fight off for themselves.
Tempo Storm's got great control on that hillside.
And it looks like Noble's kind of poking the bear with them up there as they're trying to take a couple of shots over. Guy's finally deciding he wants to do something like, hey, don't forget I exist over here. Nice down, but looks like Sub-Zero's going to see him. So crawling back over. He's becoming friends with these metal bears.
One more. I bet if he does an overhand nade here, it'll be 200 IQ to nade again. He can hear the crawling. Oh, no, man. I was hoping he would nade again.
Sharky ruining everybody's fun again. But Tempo is just feeding off of everything going on over here, as Noble did pick off the last 2 remaining members of Y10 Fate, have made their way into the circle. They do have themselves a crate as well. They see Tempo. Tempo trying to make their way in, though.
Tempo was in a vehicle and pushed over.
Tempo is just going to start to take map control. Like, they've got Maluk on the northern side, just walking around, looking around. They have 2 guys looking for frags. That's all they're looking for is more kills. It's Sharky. He always wants to shoot.
But Lazarus has now moved up and forward, got line of sight back over towards Noble. Noble is now taking some shots back over towards them. So with this Will, he's got himself a beautiful gun to play around with, but that's Noble with a ton of kills at this stage, but kills don't keep you alive as a Daculus gets dropped from a beautiful spray from Bozu, but Woe goes down in the exchange as well. Noble still holding that high ground. Will taking a lot of shots, but he's gonna get dropped as well. Now just Boom alive.
Boom gonna try to make something happen here. He's got a little bit of smoke, maybe try to go for the res here. They do have Will inside of the zone, as Lazarus is now getting shot at from Tempo.
This is rough. I mean, Noble had an angle there, but this is looking like Lazarus has too much power.
Tempo Storm is the one with all the control right now. They're just pushing right up on the edge. Look, they have control over the circle, and they have just made a line for everybody. They can't even cross through this.
They're choking it off. I mean, they're just basically taking the zone on everyone. Dre just kind of watching people come in. This is Tempo Storm. It's time to break this game open.
So close. You saw that. Luke stepped forward. Noble still going for the rest. He's going to spot out Boom. That's going to be an easy spray back down there. Keep in mind, it's hard to see through the smokes, but Boom takes a lot of damage. Nobody from Noble can just stay alive. They're just keeping one up, rotating res. And there you go. Another shot coming back over there.
Noble.
And now it's just no one left except for one person on Noble. Sub-Zero and the rest of the guys from Lazarus now realizing Tempo Storm is the threat, trying to get that inside track on him.
I like this flank from Sub-Zero, but he's going to get spotted out. Tempo sniffing that out a mile away as Noble's gone down, and it's just down to Tempo and Lazarus.
This is looking like Tempo's game.
And they're stepping up. Sharky hits the shots onto it and gets taken down.
Well, that's that. Tempo Storm just exerted massive control. They took the map, they took the zone, they took the game in the last game on Erangel of the day. And that, I mean, can we say it? Easy work for Tempo?
I mean, that was dominant. I mean, they took the dominant position and they absolutely played it.
Well, they took the dominant position, but everybody else kind of did the work for them.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just like how many teams were just stacked up right in that little warehouse area? It felt like at one point there were like 5.
I just don't think there was a way to get past the warehouse. Really, if you can't get past C9 because they'll pressure you in vehicles. There's an open plane in front of you. You have a hill with Tempo Storm on it. Again, that hill was key for Tempo Storm to hold on to. They basically disallowed anyone getting past that Cloud9 compound, caused a huge pileup, and they win the game.
Well, this is a huge game for a couple of teams, though. Obviously, Tempo coming in with a big kill count, 11 kills in a first place. But again, Lazarus desperately in need of points. Got 4 kills in a second place. Noble, as we've already mentioned, in last place right now, coming in third with 8 kills. And C9 turning it around in the last game of the day. 9 kills, 4th place.
I mean, phenomenal showing from so many teams inside. I gotta say, that one's probably one of the roughest last few circles I've seen in a long time, and a lot of teams really shining through it.
I mean, there was so many teams performed admirably in that situation.
It was rough. I mean, that southern side of the zone, we've said this through that last half, is that it's never been quite that rough. But that's just a symptom of the meta, right? Where the circles are a lot faster. You don't have a lot of time between those phases as the game progresses. Not to mention when everyone's blowing up around you, it's not like you can just duck.
Well, I gotta say, 2 things that really shone out to me was Cloud9 really playing off of just having the 2 members. They were trying to find those little sneaky little points to fight Lazarus. And Lazarus had some really brave calls that really paid up big for them and got them a lot of spots. They were gate kept several different times and managed to fight their way through.
Yeah, they managed to get 4 deep into the very, very late game. Managed to stay alive, holding the edge of the outside edge of that compound. Almost, they could have gotten a few more kills off of the C9 United or whatever, or the whoever C9 was fighting. I can't remember.
Everybody.
They would have been able to pick off a few more off of that. It would have been nicer. But again, still a 2nd place finish with 4 kills. Nothing to be sad about.
Bad guy Tempo Storm denying us. See that second nade coming out from Guys.
Dude.
You see him get the 1, and he's like, maybe I can go for the second one. No, Tempo Storm's like, no.
Well, speaking of Tempo, that's it for us on Erangel. And we have, I believe, Tempo Storm standing by with Rachel.
That's right, guys. I got Zampa down here on the stage to talk about our most recent and final match of the day. Now, Tempo Storm, you came in with a big lead in points, and over the course of the day, you nearly lost it. So how does it feel to be back on top?
We were having a pretty rough day, and it really sucked. But we pulled it through the last game, and it felt really good.
Now, when you talked to me about a rough day, what were you trying to do that you were not able to execute in the first 3 matches?
I think we're playing differently than we normally do. Like, communication isn't that, we weren't doing that so well with communication, so I think we started pulling it together at the end, so.
Great, you guys gathered momentum over the course of the day, had a strong finish in this final match, and interesting part of that was you chose to go for the northeastern hill. I saw on the final circles here. Not a lot of the other teams sort of went for that vantage point, so obviously giving you some advantage there. How else did that play out?
It played really well because Wildcard tried to push us, and we wiped them pretty quick, and we were able to tunnel everyone. So it was pretty good.
Well, when you talk about getting your team back on track, getting communication working, and being able to pull out victories like this, what's the biggest switch that you guys can flip to make that happen?
We try not to be tilted at all times, so we're pretty tilt-proof, and it definitely showed in the final game.
Yes, it did. Well, congratulations to you guys. You managed to stay at the top, like we said. Now let's hand it back to the casters to round out this first day.
Did they say that Tempo Storm is tilt-proof? Yeah, I guess I believe it. At this stage, they're on top of the leaderboard. At least they're going to be after that game, and I guess that'll be the full weekend with them at the overall first spot.
Look, I believe in in defense of Tempo, but they're starting to get really good at these post-game interviews. Once they get these wins, you can see Zampa feeling like an old pro up there. But there you go, 21 points for Tempo. Cloud9 coming in second with 13. Noble with a desperately needed 13 points as well.
Lazarus back behind that. We talked about another team really needing points. Why tempt fate back down in that 5th place spot? But look back behind that, it's E-United. A lot of our teams that were hanging out, having some rough games, really stepping up specifically in these last 2 games today.
Endemic with a 0-point performance along with Simplicity today and this weekend, or at least just this last 4 games, I should say, has not been Endemics. They have not had any standout games.
Yeah, kind of a rough day for Endemic, but we can see them turn it around here. And tomorrow, hopefully, Ghost Gaming also have a kind of a rough go there, as you can see them currently in 11th place. Noble, despite the valiant effort in this last game, only managing to pick up a total of 55 points, going to be good enough for 16th place. Oxymoron, Vicious, Lazarus, E-United, and Ghost. Not really expecting E-United and Ghost there.
And as far as
best day so far.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Ghost has been okay. I think Ghost is still, they haven't really moved. They haven't really done anything.
They're hovering.
They haven't managed to get themselves a win yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's rough for them. Noble, I think it was their best game, 13 points.
Yeah.
And it unfortunately has not moved the needle too much. Again, they need consistent effort.
They are so far behind right now that they need a couple of consistent efforts like that.
Back behind that, we got Smoke and Aces in 10th, Endemic in 9th, slowly sliding down that leaderboard. Wildcard, meanwhile, slowly climbing up behind it. Simplicity, Team Envy, and in 5th place, we've got Space Station Gaming.
This has been interesting for Endemic, and now the middle of the pack is a little bit closer. Only 4 or 5 points separating everybody there. Envy is doing okay. They're making some moves, but again, I would love to see some aggression there. But looking at the top end of the leaderboard, we've got Tempo Storm with 186 total points, 108 kills, and wow, Shoot to Kill just behind them. Not in the points, but the kills are there. Cloud9 in 3rd, and YTEM Fate rounding out the top 4.
Some pretty decent-sized gaps forming between these teams as well.
I just want to say, look at the gap that YTEM Fate had. Let's be honest, not the best day for YTEM Fate, all things considered, and they're still holding down the top 4. That's giving you an idea on what's kind of happening in these top 4 spots.
They're also 50 points out of 1st.
Yeah,
this is true.
It's a little ways. It's a little ways, but hey, 50 points is 50 points for you. But anyway, here we go. We got our next schedule for next week. I'm sorry, for tomorrow.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
It's only
we're gonna
Friday.
be back. It's only Friday. We've got a whole nother day of PUBG action. 4 more games to bring you here tomorrow, starting at 2 p.m. Pacific time.
And naturally, next week, we've got the NPL Royale. That's going to be all the NPL teams and all the contenders teams fighting it out over a 3-day event. And good Lord, if it's anything like the preseason, it's going to be amazing.
Absolutely, man. That's going to going to be a fun time. And not to mention, this is the first, at least the first tournament I can think of where there's going to be a big cash prize available in the mid-season to everybody. Normally, these guys have to play all the way through to the end of a tournament to get any chance at cash. But next weekend is going to be huge to have everyone in the same room. I think we'll see some old faces and some new ones colliding.
Oh, yeah. A lot of new rosters on those contenders teams.
And we can't forget to say happy birthday, McCoy. I know we kind of a little bit, but happy birthday to you, buddy.
Well, that's been it from us here at the desk. It's been a fun day. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some more PUBG action.
Nothing in my way will make me be afraid, and I can feel